Yo, what's up guys, my name is Ben Dini and I am back with yet again another tutorial video here on FL Studio. And today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get some crisp and clean vocals using only FL Studio's stock plugins here. Just want to say before we get started, make sure you guys drop a like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you do enjoy and if it helps you in any way. And if you're interested in purchasing this beat template thing right here, or the vocal templates, all like these presets right here, all you got to do is go to the description of this YouTube video and there will be a link that says vocal preset number 2. This is for the vocal preset for the first video on how to sound like Juice WRLD. If you are interested in buying this or buying that one, this is right here. This is where you want to go. But if you're interested in buying this vocal preset for this song right here, called Fears by me, LBM, produced by Ryan Bevelo. But if you're interested in buying these exact what are these, like the effects and all that, just go to the description, click the link, $15, and yeah, let's get right into the video.
Boring.
So I'm gonna give you guys a quick preview of what the song sounds like with all the effects on it. As you can see, we got a main layer, we got a layers for the background vocals, low ad-libs, regular ad-libs, and high ad-libs. You can really call them and name them whatever you want, and like adjust these however you want, like according to your vocals. But I think that these names suit this song the best, and it was easier for me to navigate through all of this. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Here is the example.
Bevelo got that sauce.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes and saw a sky filled up with light right inside you. I've been facing all my fears all.
Alright, as you guys can see, that is very crisp and clear for FL Studio stock plugins. And let's jump right into it. So starting off with the main vocals. As you can see, it's not a lot of plugins going on here. Got 2 compressors, 2 EQs, Maximus, limiter, delay. Don't have a reverb on here because I just think for this song, the reverb should be mainly coming from the layers, because I have layers going over basically every single part of the song, like in a higher octave, a higher pitch. So I don't think that the main vocal should have any reverb, but like I said before, you can adjust this to your vocals. If you want to add a reverb, you're able to add a reverb. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to mute all these other plugins except for the first compressor and just go down the line.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need.
Alright, and that is what it sounds like with just a compressor on it. I got the threshold to -24, ratio to 8.0, gain about 5.3, and the type is vintage. These settings are going to look very familiar throughout the whole entire like all these different mixers right here, just because with my sound at least, it's very easy to tell. Not tell, but that's just kind of the preset for my sound at least, and it works very well with me. But next, let's go on to the parametric EQ. This is what this looks like. As you can see, I got a low cut right here around 150, boost, a little bit of a boost around 140, 2 frequency sweeps at 200 and 420. Got a little bit EQ drop at 2K, like 2100 around there, just like dropped a little bit, and then a boost at around 6K, and a frequency sweep at around 7400. And this is what it sounds like with just that. I think I played it already, but this is what it sounds like with the EQ.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep in.
Alright, you guys get the idea. I'll just mute all these really quick. So next, we're going to move on to the next compressor. Like I said before, it's going to look kind of the same throughout the whole entire video. It's just because the settings are working for me. But this is if you guys want to copy these settings. Here they are. It's the same exact ones as before, basically. This is what it sounds like with that.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes.
And basically what the compressors are doing ultimately is just leveling the vocals out, putting it on the same vocal level, or putting on the same gain level, which I just think is good for here. And for vintage, there are all different types. There's hard, medium, vintage, soft, and then there's all these other ones. But I just think vintage fits this song very perfectly, just because I've tried all the other ones. But next we got a Maximus, and this one I used a de-esser on. All I did was went up here, presets, DS narrow band, and this is what it sounds like with the Maximus.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes and saw a sky filled up with.
Alright, next I got a limiter. Throw the limiter on. And this one I used for a noise gate. What I did was went presets and noise gate and just messed with the threshold and the release, just so I got the right levels for the threshold, so it wasn't taking too much of the vocals out. And this is what it sounds like with that.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your.
Alright, and then next I got another parametric EQ.
Another one.
Got the ring, the loading ring. There we go. Next we got a parametric EQ, as you can see right here. We didn't do the same cuts as before. Like usually we would have something here, but I kept it kind of the same just because I felt like this part needed to be boosted a little bit. And then I boosted a little bit around the 1K range. Still did the frequency sweep, took out all the lows, boosted around 140. Did a sweep around 3600, boost around 6K, and another sweep around 12K. And this is what it sounds like with the second parametric EQ on.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes.
And typically the rule of thumb when it comes to EQing stuff, when you're boosting high, you want to give it more space and let it air more. As in, like, you don't want to give it like this sharp kind of thing. You want to make it very smooth transitioning. But when it comes to EQing out the lows, you usually want to do like the frequency sweeps and give it this the 0%, so it's just straight cut out. But like I said, you can really use anything. What sounds good to you, what sounds good, what comes out good. You know what I mean? And next we got a delay, and turn the sub bus down a little bit more than halfway. If you guys want to copy this, I basically just turned the volume down, switched the feedback to ping pong. Turn the cut down quite a bit, raise the time to halfway, move the offset over here, and this is what it sounds like with all of the main vocal plugins on there.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes.
Alright, so that's, you guys get the idea on that. Next we're going to move on to the layers, and this is what the layers sound like just alone. Alright, so let's get started with these. Gonna mute all of this. First, like I said, I got the auto tune, but with the plugins we got parametric EQ, basically the same idea as the other one. Cut out the lows, boosted a little bit around the 150 range. Frequency sweep around 370, another sweep around 740, a little drop around 2800, 2900, boost around 6K, and then a sweep around 6300. And this is what it sounds like with the parametric EQ. You guys can copy these settings.
I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me.
And next we got a compressor right here. We got a negative 22 dB threshold, 7.7 ratio, 3.9 gain, and the type is vintage. This is what it sounds like with the first compressor and the EQ.
I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. Deep into your eyes and saw a sky filled up with.
Alright, and next I got another parametric EQ, and all I did for this one was went up here, hit presets, and went and hit old telephone, and this gives me the same exact pattern right here. If you want to hear that, this is what it sounds like with the telephone effect.
I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save.
I personally think that the telephone effect just sounds a little bit too raw when it's just the telephone effect, and I think that if you're gonna use it, like for me at least, when I'm gonna use it, has to be drained out with reverb. So what I did down here, which I'll show you a little bit or next, I did drain out the reverb, but finally for here I got another compressor, then negative 26 dB threshold, ratio of about 6.7. Gain of about 4.4, and the type is vintage as always.
I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save.
And this is what it sounds like with the reverb. And you can copy the settings. As you can see, I lowered the dry so it's more on the wet side, but the low cut is up a little bit so you can still understand the dry or hear the dry vocal. But the wet is just filling in the background, like the spaces.
I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save. Your eyes and saw a sky filled up with light right inside you. I've been facing all my.
So as you can see, it sounds very blended together and it sits very well in the mix together. So yeah, I think that's why I like using the reverb, and as you can see, raising the wet more and the high cut a little bit more. But yeah, next we're gonna move on to the low vocals, the low ad-libs right here. I'm just gonna play this out for you, just the low ad-libs and the beat.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time, cause girl, you got me feeling like.
So as you can see, the vocal is not perfect, but when it is played all together, and after I'm done showing you all the plugins here, I'll show you all these three together so you can hear how it blends together and just how the little aspects can just add spice to the vocal and add spice to the song in little ways that you can barely hear it, but it sounds good. So I'm going to mute everything except for the compressor. Here's the compressor settings for the low ad-libs right here, and I'll play that for you.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time, cause girl, you got me feeling like do anything I want.
And then next I got an EQ here. You can copy these settings. I cut out the lows, kept the 2 around 133. 3 I kept the same basically. A little bit of a drop around the 1100 range. Another drop around the 1900 range. Boost around 5300 and a cut around 7300. This is what it sounds like with the parametric EQ and the compressor.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time, cause girl, you.
Just adding a little bit more life to the vocal, making it sound pop a little bit more. But like I said, you don't want to make this one sound very present. You just kind of want it to be in the background, just kind of just you can hear it a little bit, but not too much. But next, I got another compressor, negative 19 dB, 7.3 ratio, 4.2 gain, and this time I got the Type 1 medium because I think that I just think that's what it sounded better with, and this is what it sounds like on that.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time, cause girl, you got me feeling like doing it.
And next, I was kind of just experimenting with this.
Okay.
So I don't use this plugin that much, but I think that for being a background low ad-lib, that I think it gives it a little bit more character and just a little bit more, I just guess character and liveliness to the vocal. But I added a flanger to give it more of like a robotic-y feel, and this is what it sounds like with the flanger.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time, cause girl, you got me feeling like doing it.
And lastly, I added a reverb, and this is what I'll show you. This is the flanger. It's just the default flanger, by the way, and I just turned it down halfway on the sub bust. And next, I got the reverb, and as you can see, I went like 75% on the sub bust. If you guys want to copy these settings, go for it. And this is what it sounds like with that.
Your heart is my 9 to 5. I could give you my whole life. Hope you do not waste my time. Girl, you got me feeling like I could do anything I want. Say anything I say. Can't I lie? You ease my brain. Make me think it's all okay.
So yeah, it just blends very well together, and I just think that sounds really good. Next, we're gonna go ahead and just get these high ad-libs out of the way and close out all of these. On this part right here, I'll just play this for you. These are what the high ad-libs are going to sound like, all mixed, and when they're all mixed.
Game, move, change, yeah.
And here we go. On this one, as you can see, there's not a lot going on. I just started off with a parametric EQ. This is what it looks like. Cut a little bit more out of the lows than usual, just to kind of give it more of that just like clipping sound in a way, but just make it only present when it's silent, if that makes sense. You'll hear it when everything's final. But did a little bit of a frequency sweep around the 350 range, another sweep around 660, a little bit of a drop around 1700, boost around 5700, and then a sweep around 59. And this is what it sounds like with the EQ.
Game, move, change, yeah.
Alright, next I got a compressor, and for this one I got a -28 threshold, a ratio of 8.6, gain of 7.6, and the vibe or the type is vintage. That's what it sounds like with the compressor.
Game, move, change, yeah.
Next I got a limiter on here. For this one, all I did was just a noise gate. I went up to this little button, pressed presets, noise gate, and just messed with the threshold and the release until it gave me a good sound that I was looking for, to take away all the background noise.
Game, move, change, yeah.
And lastly, I drained this one out in reverb. Not drained it out in reverb, but gave it reverb and did not turn the sub bus down fully all the way up. Added a little bit of a low cut, turned the wet down, and turned the damp up and the decay up, and this is what it sounds like.
Game, move, change. I know this what she gon' do, cut me out of her life and shit.
And this is what it sounds like all together, so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about.
It's all a part of her game. I'm the piece that she move when she in need of a change. I know this what she gon' do, cut me out of her life and she ain't even say bye. Don't know why I'm still trying.
So it's barely visible, but it's still visible to the point where it makes it sound just perfect. And last but not least, we're gonna go right here to the ad-libs. I'm gonna turn the beat on. This is what the ad-libs sound like fully mixed. Alright, and going right into it, I'm just gonna mute everything else. These ones are not perfect at all. This song is not completely like finished or anything. Just wanted to throw something together for you guys to get an idea of what I'm going for. But here's the EQ going into the ad-libs. This is the first EQ on here, and this is what it sounds like with that.
Fierce,
Alright, and for this I just added cut the lows out, boosted a little bit around the 150 range, frequency sweep around 300 in the 660 range again, dropped it around the 2100 range, boost around 61, 6200.
Boring!
And then another sweep around the 6700 range. And then the next one I added was a compressor. Got a -26 dB threshold, 7.7 ratio, 2.4 gain, and the type is vintage as everyone else's. This is what it sounds like with the compressor.
fierce,
And next I got a limiter on here, and this is to take out the background noise and all that extra noise, because if you listen to this one just silent, I'm pretty sure there's somebody talking in it. Without the limiter. Yeah, someone's in the background talking. So this limiter is here to take out all of that extra background, not needed, not necessary noise. So this is what it sounds like with the limiter. As you can see, it makes those little silent parts, or those little parts where there would be background noise picked up. It turns those down and just makes it silent. And yeah, next we got an EQ. Basically the same idea as everything else, every other EQ on here. 2 frequency sweeps around 3300 or 330 range, another frequency sweep around 800 range, took out the lows, boosted around 4600, and then another sweep around 7470. And this is what it sounds like with that. And then lastly, I got a reverb on here, and this is what the settings look like for this reverb. I did a low cut, so it's not as reverby as other ones. I turned it down a little bit less than 50%, so it's still, I would say, about like 60% turned up. But you guys can copy the settings for this, and this is what it sounds like with the beat.
Got that sound.
And this is what it all sounds like together.
Bevelo got that sauce.
Yeah, I've been facing all my fears all on my own. I don't need no one to save me. I look deep into your eyes and saw a sky filled up with light right inside you. I've been facing all my fears all on my.
Alright, and I think that is gonna go ahead and do it for the mixers and like everything with the template that is here. But to finalize this video, I'm just gonna show you guys one more trick that I think that everyone should know. If you probably do know this already if you're fairly used to FL Studio, but if you are a beginner, here's a little trick, little snippet, not snippet, but a little thing that could spice up your vocals just a little bit more. I'm just gonna delete this and just do it again for you guys. But all you gotta do is, I'll just mute the beat for you.
With light right inside.
So you hear this little yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the beginning of this, and this is called a reverse reverb. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the beginning of this right about there. Get my pen tool, click this little button in the top left, hit make unique. I'm gonna bring this unique one, the one that's not here, the one that's split up to the left, bring this to a different mixer track. I usually do like 8 or 9 because I don't use that one. I'm gonna give you put on an Edison. You just gotta hit add new plugin and hit Edison. Hit the red button or turn this button red. All you gotta do is press play.
With light right inside you. I've been faced.
And then you see how this little thing comes up here? All you gotta do is press this button. I'm not really too sure what this emblem is, but press the 4th button in on the top row. Hit accept. You gotta turn the dry all the way down, the wet all the way up. Hit accept. And then it's gonna give you this this weird little waveform file. What I do is press Control A, drag this, press this button up here, drag this there. So now it's into your playlist. Press reverse, and now where the little split is up here, you just want to delete that again, bring it out so this is on the right mixer track. Line up your reverse reverb so it's fitting correctly, and this is what it's gonna sound like with the reverse reverb.
Your eyes and saw a sky filled up with light right inside you. I've been facing all.
To give you guys a better idea, I'll just mute these two, isolate them so you know what I'm talking about more.
Yeah, I've been
So it kind of like is like a lead up, build up to that, and I just think that sounds really cool and adds more to the song. But yeah, I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in all the way to the end. If you did, make sure you drop a comment, subscribe, and like on this video. Comment what you want to see next. I'm gonna be on my YouTube grind a little bit more, just focusing more on videos and getting content out for you guys, because I did get a lot of support on my last tutorial videos and was told to do more, and I'm definitely gonna hop on that now. So yeah, like I said before, if you guys want to cop this preset, is in the description below. It's the BeatStars link. Go ahead, click that. If you want to stream some of my music, I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below as well. I just dropped a new music video on my artist account, so all the support on that helps out a lot. means the world to me, because that's like my main thing. But I love helping out, showing people what I wish I knew before. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Don't leave your house. Drink water. Don't spread corona. And I'll catch you guys. Peace.